Hey everybody, Josh here with Mentor Public Library and yet another installment of Artpocalypse, our weekly arts and crafts video series. Here to show you guys something cool, so let's get started. Okay, so for today's craft, I'm going to show you guys how to crochet with your fingers. I find it works best with this chunky yarn, but you can use whatever you want, or even if you have like multiple colors you can mix them together. It's the perfect chance to do some cool color work. So to get started, you just take your yarn, and this is going to be a little tricky because I'm left-handed. If you're watching at home and you're right-handed, as 90% of you probably are, there's probably an option on whatever format you're watching this on to mirror the video. It'll flip it around, so hopefully that makes it look like I'm right-handed, but you can probably still apply the same principles. I'll try to walk you through it. So you take your loose end, wrap it around your index finger, come between index and middle with the attached end, and then take the loose end, cross it over. Can you see what I'm doing? Hopefully. Cross it over the attached end, and then you're going to take that attached piece, and without bringing that loose end anywhere other than across your fingers, you're going to want to pull that up between your index and middle finger, and then back around and over, like so. And then you take the loop that's already on your index finger and then pull it up and over, right? And then you can tighten that loose end. And that, it's not crocheting, but you just made a slip knot, which is a pretty basic, cool life skill to know. So you can pull that as loose or as tight as you want. You're going to want to leave a little room because you're going to be working in these stitches. Alright, so I usually hang on to the work as it's coming down with the rest of my fingers, like so. So you have one active stitch on your index finger here. So basically, like before, you're going to want to bring the yarn from between these two fingers back behind your index finger and over it, and then pull that bottom loop over. And then just do that over and over. See, so between these two, right? And back, over and around. And then pull that bottom loop over. So we'll do that a couple more times. You can do this for infinity if you want to just make a long chain. But if you want to actually crochet something, like we'll do a couple stitches here. This would be a good width for a scarf probably. It's like probably 4 inches across. So it'll be a nice bulky winter scarf. So then to get started, it's going to be a little tricky, but I believe in you. So the chains that you just made, right? If you look, there's one part of the chain on top, and then there's 2 on the bottom. So what you're going to want to do, you can use both hands here. Take your right hand or your left hand, whichever hand you're using. Remember, I'm left-handed. Skip one of the chains that you see. Go into the second one. You're going to want to put your index finger into that top part. So remember, there's one part on top, 2 on the bottom. You just want to go on that one part on top. So then you have that on your finger. And then you're going to want to do like we've been doing with when you made the chain at the base, is bring the yarn from between your index and middle finger over and around, and then pull that back through that top part of the chain you just went into. So now you have 2 loops on your finger, and then you're going to do that one more time. Not the part where you go into the stitch, but the part where you bring the yarn over your index finger. And then this is the trickiest part probably, but you're going to want to take both of these loops and pull them over that third loop that you just created on your finger. So we'll do that one more time, right? Alright, so you go into your loop, the top part of the loop, and then bring the yarn over, and then pull that back through the loop. So now you have 2. And then bring yarn over, and then you can do them individually if that's easier. I've been doing this for years, so I just do 2 at a time because I'm used to it. But since you're just starting, you can just pull one over and then the other. because sometimes that last one that you just had on there is going to want to pull with all of them, and then you're just going to end up getting frustrated. So then you just keep doing the same thing over and over again until you get to the end of your base chain, is what that was called. Okay. So now that you've got all of your chains filled out with your first stitches, so you've got what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches across. Once you get to the end, you're going to have just one loop on your finger. You're going to bring that yarn over like we've been doing, and then pull it through. And it's just called a chain one in crochet terms, and all that means is that that's going to act as your first stitch on the row that we're going to do next. Because as you can see, like right here, this is like the last stitch in the row, but you can't really work in there without bringing this work up to the next row, if that makes sense. So this is just kind of like a placeholder until we do the third row coming back, and we can work with this chain that we just made. So once you made your chain, you're just going to flip it over, right? And then now, like I said, this first stitch, that's the word I'm looking for. It's got this kind of tangled mess. It's kind of not tangled, but coiled. And then there's 2 free loops up top here. This is that first one though that we're going to skip, because we did that chain 1, so that's going to act as our stitch. So then you go to the next stitch and you just bring your finger under those 2 loops, right? And then same thing as always, just bring the yarn over and around your index finger, between index and middle, and then hold it there with your other hand, or whatever feels comfortable for you. And then bend your finger, pull that yarn through those 2 loops. So just like on the previous row, you got 2 loops, bring your yarn over, and then pull both loops over, and you're good. And then you just keep going. And if you've gotten this far in the video and you haven't thrown the yarn at someone in your house or some wall or whatever, and you're not super frustrated and you're getting it, you just keep going and going and going, and eventually you'll reach an end and you just tie it off, and you're done. And if you have gotten very frustrated, try watching the video again, following along, or there's other videos online that you can follow along that might be better for you. But hopefully you get the hang of it, because it's a pretty cool craft. You can take it with you wherever you go, obviously, because all you need is just your hands.